$1 billion to Africa, to Congo. Oh my goodness. For what? Infrastructure. That's what he says. President Biden has issued $1 billion to go to the Congo, to the Lobito corridor, in his words. And because he's such a guy on infrastructure, he's giving this money because America is that kind of people. So I want to talk about it for a second. And you all might think, this is going to be political. Yep. Yep. Put on your big boy britches. This is going to get political, but not in the way you might think. You might be thinking, are you going to talk bad about Biden? No, 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 no. We're just mentioning factual stuff. And then we're going to show you some things that are also factual. And you can make your own political decisions about it. You see how this works? All we do to the thing is just bring you some information, bring to you all the stuff that's there. You make your own mind up about it. Okay? We clear? Good. Perfect. I'm glad we're on the same page. Now let's start. So this week, Biden gets up. He says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give $1 billion. Gives the $1 billion, goes over to have a meeting with them, sits down with them, falls asleep, gets up and comes back home. So I have a question. And I'm sorry to say I'm going to have to isolate a group of people here. And I hope we have mature enough people in this room to understand that sometimes you have to speak to very specific people, not at, to. Okay? So I want to speak a little bit now to African Americans, please. I'm not saying the rest of y'all can't listen. This is not one of the, if you're not African American, scroll on. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. Everyone should be listening to this. However, this question is for, how did Jesse Lee say, the blacks? I just want to ask you a question. Okay. Now, I've looked at some things politically over the last 3 years within the confines of the United States, and I've witnessed something kind of disheartening. And this is what it is. No matter how much assistance, aid, help, and backing that the African American has asked the people they vote for to give them, they're always promised it, never given it. Always a promise every time. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And then nothing. Now, a prime example would be in Chicago. I'm just using Chicago as an example. I'm not throwing shade at nobody. I'm just going to give you, like I said, factual information. You can decide. I look at places like Chicago. We know that Chicago has problems, and we're not talking about the gang violence. We're not talking about the shooting. We are talking about the livability, funds wise, in Chicago. We're talking about the type of housing that's in Chicago. We're talking about the struggle that's happening in Chicago. Now, when you look at mayors in Chicago, you might be seeing something that your eyes are telling is not true. There is a black person in charge. And for some reason, he has not given nearly any kind of aid to the people that he says he's there for. Him saying it, not me. Again, fact stuff, okay? Now, what he did do was give a lot of the funding to other people that look nothing like the people that really reside in Chicago. In fact, I would say that he went out of his way to bring in even more people that were not of the same ilk, not of the same mindset, not of the same culture, and put them up in hotels and gave them this and gave them that and funds, kind of like Biden, and gave them all kinds of stuff. And then when the residents came to him and said, "Hey, what gives, buddy?" His answer was, "What, you don't want to help other people?" Well, first of all, we didn't say we didn't want to help other people. We just asking about us. What what are you going to do for? We've been asking you for help. That's why we put you there, right? Yes. Okay. Last time we checked, we voted. You said you were here for us because we're like you. You're from here. You grew up here. You understand the struggle. All right. Once you out of the struggle, all of a sudden you forgot that you had the struggle. You still talk about it, but you don't give anything back to the struggle. Kind of like Biden. So now we have two dilemmas here. Are we then supposed to assume that because of their actions that somehow they do not care? Or are you going to give them a pass and said, well, they're busy with a whole lot of things and they can't? You could. You could give them the pass. But what I'm proud to say is that many Chicagoans are not giving that. You know why? They have seen something. They saw that, wait a minute, hold up, something ain't right. We gave you the shot to help us, and in all your efforts, you didn't help us, not one single bit. And now here we have the captain and commander himself sending a Billy over to Africa to help them in their issues with infrastructure and disaster. Meanwhile, we have projects after projects after projects after hood after hood after hood after dilapidated buildings all over the United States. and not a single dime is just issued to fix it. So here is the ultimate question. At what point, Black America, do you analyze these points that I'm giving you, analyze the things you see, think about it, and then say to yourself, just maybe we need to hold them to account. Just maybe we should actually stop saying we'll trust them to do it. And when they don't do it, call them out. Now, one such person did that. You've probably seen her on our channel before. Danny C was before the council earlier on this month. Now, if it's one thing I can say about Danny, she's a Spitfire now. Okay, she is a firecracker that's lit. You know, remember those M80s? I think is that what they call them, M80s that they used to have back in the day. Like I think they're outlawed now because of how powerful. You could light this and it goes, poof, and just blow. That would be Danny. Well, Danny took her M80 to a council meeting in Chicago and started talking to Brandon Johnson. Now, if you saw this clip, man, I would look. I will tell you this. I have sisters. Heck, I have a mom too. And I have dealt with my share of irate females. I've dealt with my share of females who are right and are going off on me. But I'm glad I never encountered anybody like this, because I think I'd have just cowered away and be like, you know, you're right. I can't say nothing. Now, this is a twofold thing I'm bringing this up for. We've discussed the idea that money has never come to you, but it's going other places. And you put that on the table. Those are facts. You can't dispute that. If you want to dispute it, show me proof that I'm wrong. That's all I'm asking. But I'm pretty sure 100% plus that I'm not wrong. So now we have our groundwork. You don't get anything other people do. People are waking up, like Danny, goes in front and decides to reprimand the person that's in power. Correct way to do it, by the way. Instead of complaining internally, struggling with your voice and not, and then but you keep saying, I'll vote for you, I'll vote. The right way to do it is if they don't do their job, you approach them. Here's the real question. And this one is to the African American male. I do not want you to think I'm belittling you, and I do not want you to think I'm trying to put you down. I'm just asking you to actually step up. We are called the protectors for a reason. And that doesn't mean just because I'm going to protect you. I mean, I only can protect you from a bear, a dog, or a cougar in the woods. It's more than that. I should also be there to protect you from having to act, say, or be something that I'm supposed to be on behalf of you. Danny C, for all her enthusiasm, should not have to be the one to do that. She should be the one that should be depending on the stronger of the society to stand up to people like Brandon Johnson. Now, I'm not saying there aren't men that are doing it. I'm saying there should be more, a lot more. If he doesn't do the job you put him in there to do, it is the man's job. And y'all can get and call me chauvinistic and sexist all you want. Don't care. I'm trying to urge the men to step up to a certain plate so that the women can be exactly that, women. It is our job to step up and say, hey, look, I got children and I got wives, I got a girlfriend, I got women in my life that you are harming by your action. And if you don't stop this, we either gonna have some issues or we're voting you out. Pick your poison. But either way, some poison coming. What has happened to that generation? Where has that gone? Look, I know that the new narrative is a strong, independent black woman. I'm not saying they're not there. But do they need to be? Do they? No. No, they don't. They should be in such comfort that they should depend on us in the kinds of ways that say, I don't got nothing to worry about. My dude's got me. This $1 billion that Biden gave to Africa is a spit in your face. Let's just be honest. It's a spit. You never got that kind of money. Okay, here's the secondary thing. How long have you been asking for reparations? I'm not saying you're getting it. I'm just asking how long you've been asking. How long have you been asking specifically the people you vote for to do it? And how much have they told you? Yeah, we're working on it. In fact, we're investigating it right now. And man, when we investigate real good, and we'll let you know in a few years how much you're going to get. Then they tell you, well, you see, in order to research, we're going to need to allocate about $5 to $10 million to do the research. Okay. And in 2 years, we'll let you know whether or not you're eligible. Oh, okay. But then you have to make sure you get your own ancestry to figure it out. But no, no, but then in a month's time, the president who told you this decides to just send money to somebody else. You voted for him. You understand that this problem is not something that you can just brush off. You can't. This has been going on for a while. This is why people like Biden has felt comfortable to do what he's just done. Look you in the eye and say he cares, and then decides, I care, but I don't care that much. Again, these are factual things because he has not done that for you. Has he? No. And since he hasn't done it for you, but he has done it for other people, I can only assume one thing. You're not that important on the totem pole. I know it's a rough reality, but it's just not worth it. But in about 4 years, you will be. In about 4 years, you will be. And I know I'm going to get flack. Too Strong will be called all kinds of names, but we're used to it. We're going to be called everything under the sun. Sticks and stones, though. We grew up in the 70s and 80s. So trust me, those ain't going to work here. They're simply not going to work here. What we do ask you to bring, though, is some receipts. If you're going to debunk us with something factual, because we do bring facts to you as well. Is it true that you have done the same thing, Black America, for the last 60 to 100 years and have seen little to no progress? Is that true? If it is true, maybe you should start doing what we've been encouraging you guys to do. Stop looking to them to fix this. They won't. And because it works to their benefit to keep you where you are. And I'm not talking left and I'm not talking right. I'm talking about those that you vote for and put in power. You have the responsibility to take care of your own, which is why I'm asking the men to step up. We cannot leave this task to the women. It's not the incapable thing or anything like that. It has everything to do with your role, men. I don't know that this message will get to you. I don't know that you'll hear it, but I'm not going to not say it just because of fear that you won't. Somebody has to say it, and I'm not trying to say this to say you're worthless, this and that. Why don't you? I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that what has happened has made you lackadaisical, make you shirk your responsibility for whatever reason. And now that you're being shown that it is a much needed role to pick up, pick it up. Pick it up. And many have. Many have. I'm not going to say no. But the remaining few have a louder voice than the many who have picked it up. This move by President Biden should be a wake-up call. And I'm not questioning why he sent the money for who, what he sent, but the question is, why hasn't he done that for you here? That's my question. And if it is such a question that you have to ask, why haven't you picked it up with him like Danny did with the town hall meeting? Go straight to the source. It's not going to change if you argue online. It's not going to change if you argue with your neighbor. It's not going to change if you decide to get so mad you hurt somebody that has nothing to do with it. You have to step to the people that are responsible. And you have that legal right to do so. Bring your grievances, state exactly what you need to state. Make sure you let them know this has to stop or you're out. It's the only way you can do it. Secondarily, you have to do what is necessary to keep your home happy and intact. That's all we would love to see from you. The enthusiasm to bring family back, the enthusiasm to bring the role reversal that's happening now out and thrown away and put the family back on the road that it's supposed to have been on for however long it had been before all this mess took place. Again, just info. You can do with it what you will. But understand this. What you do after you get the information is not on the information giver. It's on you.